bring in someone else who has dealt with big tech social media censorship firsthand, Fabian Garcia. In fact, Fabian, you recently were punished by Instagram for posting, and I can't stop thinking about this. Get this, guys. They're saying that, I believe it was, what, child exploitation? That's why your post was taken down. You were shadow banned. Tell us about that, Fabian.
Yeah, so I decided to inform the public of George Floyd's autopsy report and posted that on social media. 3 weeks later, I got notified that I was in Instagram jail for child sexual exploitation.
Unbelievable.
I sent a request to review that, and I said, this has nothing to do with children. This is a paper that I posted. They denied that appeal, and because of that, I am facing the worst shadow ban I've ever seen. People that I've talked to, they don't even understand how that's even possible. What pop-ups people are getting, they're warning you not to follow me. They're making it so that you can't close the pop-up unless you select yes or no, you want to follow me, which they say I'm a contentious figure now. I can't send messages to anyone. It's just incredible what they've done now.
So talk a little bit more about that experience. I mean, you have the Surgeon General right now saying that there should be a warning because of mental health implications, and yet we're not talking about the censorship. I mean, Fabian, it has to frustrate you that you see the things you do on social media that are, in my opinion, practical pornography, inciting violence, inciting hate, and yet they're coming at you for just sharing, honestly, the truth.
Last time we spoke a few months ago, I was saying this is going to get worse and worse the closer we get to the election, and now we have an Instagram where they've essentially decided to make people that don't agree with their mainstream narrative a social outcast, very similar to what China does with their social credit score. So essentially what they do is if anyone reshares my story, no one sees that story. They have people say that when they've tried to add me, they get problems. They think they're getting hacked. It's getting worse and worse. And when you try to appeal it to these, whoever it is that you're appealing it into the ether, no one gets back to you. You never win. And they only increase every time they don't like something you do, they increase the punishment longer and longer. So your shadow ban lasts longer and longer.
Unbelievable.
No, that's crazy. And you see instances of this happen all the time. I actually just yesterday had a video pulled from TikTok. It was literally the video of Joe Biden stuttering and stammering at his press conference yesterday, where he's talking about illegal immigration, and it literally got pulled within seconds.
TikTok is the worst.
Yeah,
honestly. Do you think TikTok's the worst?
TikTok and Instagram have different ways that they shadow ban you or censor you, rather. TikTok doesn't care if they don't like a video. They'll just remove it. Whereas Instagram, they will shadow ban your account and make it so you can essentially not even use your account for quite a long time. And, it's interesting that the Surgeon General now is all of a sudden deciding to make a war on social media, because Instagram's been around since 2004. I'm sorry, Facebook for 20 years now, Instagram for about 12 years. We've known that teenage girls have extremely high rate of suicide. We've seen all the markers, but now is when they said, oh, we have to do something about it. My opinion is that it's going to be a government-mandated censorship under the guise of protecting children, very similar to what they've done in the school system that says if you have a new pronoun, we don't have to tell your parents because we're protecting the children. And that's the way I feel they're going to get it under the guise of censorship without having all of these, First Amendment violations being hit with because they're doing it for the children.
Oh, of course. It's a built-in shield for them, right? And they've been successful at it, using it for a while. Fabian, let me ask you this. Obviously, TikTok is pretty bad. Instagram is kind of where you're targeted. Are there, any alternatives? This is obviously happening to a ton of people, and it's only, coming to the surface because, you have a following, right? So what advice would you give to creators and those who are kind of trying to build their own following and trying to navigate this, repulsive environment?
The first thing I would say is that if you're thinking about posting things like this, you're not alone. The reason why they are instituting this war, another reason I believe, is that because a lot of people have woken up and they are posting this all over the place. But it's impossible to shadow ban every single person. You would have 0 users on your application. So instead, they can pass things like this that are very restrictive. But if you're a person who's wanting to post stuff and say, I have to tell people about this, what I'm seeing, here's how you do it. The first rule is try to not make any statements. When you make a statement, they can get you with that. However, if you pose a question, that you lead people to the answer you'd want them to vis-a-vis a Socratic method, it's a much easier way to get under the radar. Also, you can post a lot of polls on your story. Instead of saying something or asking a question, you can say, what do you think about this? And pose two potential answers. Make it very hard for their algorithm to catch you doing things. I feel like we're in like Soviet Russia where we have to have code words and do stuff underground because this is what it's getting to.
Yeah, it's definitely getting bad. And unfortunately, I don't think it's getting better anytime soon. But Fabian Garcia, thanks so much for being with us. Always appreciated and appreciate your insight as well.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.